my name is Hailey Jones from Branson High School, and today I will be recording a POI. Before we start, I need to give you a brief content warning. This episode contains references to sexual violence and descriptions of interactions with law enforcement. To the guy in the back of the room who's complaining about hearing another rape poem. A knock knock, who's there? Rape joke who? Rape joke who's not funny. The rape joke is that sometimes he would take you on a date and then take you over to his best friend Pee-wee's house and make you all watch wrestling while they got high. The rape joke was that his best friend's name was Pee-wee. Okay, the rape joke was that he totally worshipped The Rock. Like, he thought that what The Rock could do with his eyebrow was so funny. Like the new sweatpants and sweatshirt that they gave me at the hospital. I was mortified. I was not ready to tell my boyfriend or my parents or really anybody that I may have been raped, but I didn't know by who or when or how. And if I told them, I'd see the fear on their faces and mine would multiply tenfold. So instead, I just pretended that the whole thing didn't happen. So you take this time to get another drink and I'll tell them how every story sounds the same when you stop listening. In 2016, Chanel Miller was sexually assaulted by Brock Turner. This trial went to case the following year in February, and Brock Turner was convicted of sexual assault in the first degree. However, this man was released from prison in September the same year he was convicted in February. That year would be 2017. Chanel Miller and Brock Turner is one of the most famous sexual assault cases of the modern century. And it has inspired me a lot through my journey of trying to seek justice for my own sexual assault. Whenever reporting, they cut my hair, told me I needed to take back my statement in case something actually happened to me in the future so it didn't look bad on me, and literally threatened to put me back in the home with the man who sexually assaulted me for years. So they used a program called exceptional clearance to move my case through the system. It was no longer on their desks. They no longer had to deal with it. That is called exceptional clearance, and we're going to learn more about that today. So through the prose, Know My Name by Chanel Miller, and Rape Joke by Patricia Lockwood. Through the poetry, Another Rape Poem by Brenna Twohy, and the study, Report Locally, Think Globally by Reveal. Rape Joke, a program to be taken seriously. Once you decide to report your sexual assault, you will eventually sit down with a police officer. After the initial report gets taken, not all cases get sent to a police officer to be reported. Due to a lack of resources, law enforcement agencies say they have to prioritize which cases to send on. As far as a lot of women know, their cases were never handed to a detective on January 17th, 2015. It was a quiet night at home. My dad had made some dinner and I was sitting at the table with my younger sister who was visiting town for the weekend. I planned to stay at home by myself and watch some TV and maybe read a book while my sister went out to some dumb party with her friends. Then I decided, well, it was my only night with her, so why not? I would go have a few drinks and embarrass my younger sister. I'd act a fool. I mean, what could go wrong? It's just some dumb college party, right? Right? Just after 1 a.m. last night, law enforcement officers responded to a report of an unconscious female near the Kappa Alpha fraternity house. They say that they found the victim on the ground in the fetal position behind a garbage dumpster. She was found but unresponsive. About 25 yards away, 2 men, passers-by, had pinned down and restrained a young man who was later identified as Brock Turner. The rape joke is that he was 19 years old. The rape joke is that he wore a goatee. A goatee. Like, imagine the rape joke standing in the mirror, perfectly reflecting back at itself, and it thinks, yes, a goatee. No offense. The next thing I remember, I was on a gurney in a hallway. I had dried blood and bandages on the backs of my hands and elbows, and then I felt it. The scratching of the pine needles in the back of my neck. I pulled them out one by one by one, and my brain was talking my gut into not collapsing because my gut was screaming, "Help me, help me!" But my brain knew it's okay. And then they asked me to sign papers that said rape victim. And that's when I knew that something had actually happened to me. I know that you're tired of hearing rape poems. I'm tired of hearing rape poems the same way soldiers are tired of hearing their own guns go off. Believe me, we all wish the war was over. But friend, you are staring out at a world on fire, complaining about how ugly you think the ashes are. When law enforcement arrived, one of the deputies in a loud voice asked the victim several times, "Can you hear me?" There was no response. In an ambulance later, the victim finally regained consciousness at about 4:15 a.m. in the hospital. Later that morning, doctors said her blood alcohol concentration was at 0.12% and estimated her alcohol concentration at the time of the assault to be 0.22%. The rape joke is that you had been drinking wine coolers. Like, who drinks wine coolers? I mean, people who get raped, according to the rape joke, according to him. The only reason why we were on the ground was because I fell down. Note, if a girl falls down, you help her up. If she's too drunk to even walk and she falls down, you do not mount her, hump her, take off her underwear, and insert your hand into her vagina. If a girl falls down, you help her up. You do not move her cardigan off of her dress just so you can touch her breasts. Maybe she's cold. Maybe that's why she wore the cardigan. If a prosecutor looks at the case and says that they won't be able to file charges, police might just make an arrest without filing charges. There's a key term here: clearance. Clearing a case means moving it through the system. It's off law enforcement's desk. A case can either be cleared by arrest or by exceptional means. Cleared by exceptional means a very specific thing. It happens when police know who the suspect is, where they are, have enough evidence to prosecute, and for some reason outside of their jurisdiction are unable to. This can include whenever the defendant is being charged in another jurisdiction, the suspect is dead, or where the victim does not wish to press charges any longer. In the data that we gathered from 2019, Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, 80% of their sexual assault cases were cleared by exceptional means. Exceptional clearance designation is something that experts have really told me is meant to be used pretty sparingly. But in the data that we gathered from the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, this tells us a whole different story. He was going to go to any lengths to convince the world that I had just been confused. When I was told to prepare in case I didn't win, I told them there's no way I could prepare for that. He was guilty from the moment that I woke up. No one can talk me out of the hurt that he caused me. No one can give me back my sleepless nights. They can't tell me just to not break down uncontrollably, because I'll tell them how nice it must be to be able to walk away. I'll tell them how there's a voice in the back of my head saying this is just another rape poem. No, this is just another little girl lost poem. This is just another do not touch me unless I ask you to touch me poem. Just another 7 years old sleeping with a Tinkerbell wand on my nightstand and a kitchen knife underneath my pillow, because I swore that the next time that you came into my room uninvited, you would come out bleeding. The rape joke is that he asked you why he did it. Like he didn't know. Like what else would a rape joke say? The rape joke is that he said that you were drunk. He said that you were confused. He said that you told the story wrong, which made you laugh out loud for just one split open second. Can rape jokes really be funny at all is the question. You have no idea how hard I've worked to rebuild the parts of me that are weak. It took me 8 months to talk about what happened to me. I remained anonymous for 7 years. I could no longer connect with friends, with everyone around me. I would scream at my friends, my own boyfriend, my family if they ever brought this up, and you never let me forget what happened to me. And at the end, I was too tired to speak. I would leave drained, silent. But now, as long as you're there in the back of the room, I am going to be here. Voice made from smolder, because this is my story, and you cannot take this from me.